Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Usha.
Let's start episode 170 of Ask Vidas and Osha podcast. This question was sent by Francois. He writes, Dear Vidas and Osha, many thanks for this email about fingering in Bach's keyboard music. I also can't find any system that works for Bach's keyboard music, but I prefer to refer to this topic in terms of articulation. And this brings me to a question about how you think. An example, in the C minor invention, the second of the 15 inventions, I find different possibilities for articulation based on resolutions and find different solutions good. No way to decide definitely. Maybe it's okay to let some points open and offer different interpretation on the same piece, but that doesn't satisfy me, because I bet Bach had a clear idea about what he wanted for each piece he wrote. How do I find Bach's musical purpose with details for each of his pieces? Do you have an answer or a way to think about it? Thanks in advance, Francois. This is an advanced question, Osha, right?
Yes, it's a very advanced question.
Do you believe that Bach always played his pieces just in a one way? Or maybe he changed some things, adjusted?
I think he had to adjust some things, probably. Because there are places in his music where you cannot play exactly as he wrote them, because he was so careful about his voice leading, especially in his late pieces, that sometimes, you have to make some adjustments.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, in the E flat major
Right?
prelude, there is one spot where you hold a long note in your left hand, but at the same time you are playing 16 notes also with your left hand, and some of those 16 notes are the same as that long note that you're holding. And then you just think what to do. Either not to play those 16 notes, or just to not hold that long note. So what would you do in a situation like this?
I would play 16 notes.
Yes,
because they are more active.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, And I analyzed that place, and he did it because of a voice leading.
I see, right? It looks better on paper.
Yes.
This way.
Yes.
What he wrote. But in practice, when you play it exactly it's as it's written, it's unclear.
That's true.
Right? You have to sacrifice some things and make adjustments in order for your listener to be able to hear what he wrote.
I know, but it just shows how important, for him was actually the rules of voice leading.
The rules meaning avoiding parallel fifths.
Yes,
things like that.
And all those, bad things.
Mm-hmm. But didn't he break the rules from time to time?
Sure, of course, he did that. He was an innovator in a way.
He knew the rules, but he could expand them and go beyond them when he needed.
But I think he always knew exactly what he's doing, and I think it's very hard for us to solve some mysteries of his music, because I think there were hidden symbols in his music throughout his compositions. And I think it's probably very hard for modern people to understand it.
We lost long ago the language of rhetorical figures, right?
Yes, and like, for example, he often used his birth date as a signature in his musical compositions. That's what I heard about famous chorale from the Klavierübung third part, Vaterunser.
Right.
Which has that bizarre part in the pedal line. Somewhere in the middle of the piece. It's very odd.
In exact middle of the piece there is this spot which might be a musical signature of Bach.
Yes. And of course you can often find his real signature BCH. And so on and so forth. So it's a real mystery and the lifelong study.
For us, in modern day, when we see what's written on the page, we tend to analyze the harmony, the polyphony, the voice leading, the form, the texture. But for him, it was more than that, right? It was an idea first, probably.
Yes.
What he needed to create. He didn't probably think, oh, I need to create a prelude in E flat major today, and it will have 3 themes and 8 episodes, and let's see, maybe I will use the Italian concerto form with ritornello. Okay, maybe my ritornello will be part A, then B, then I will repeat section A in the dominant, then B again in the dominant. What about C? Then will come the part C, A, B, A, C, A, B, C, A, and that's it, 8 parts, and I'm done. No, he probably thought about the symbolic meaning, about the keys, right? About 3 flats.
Yes,
about the Holy
that's
Trinity.
Very symbolic, yes.
What else did he think about, Osha?
Why are you asking me? Do you think I'm closer to Bach than you are?
Of course.
I don't think so.
You have studied your entire life Bach's works, and maybe you can think deeper than I do.
Well, I don't think so. I really don't think so. But if we would go back to the fingering and articulation question while playing Bach's music, I, for example, always think about meter first, and actually meter is the main object for me while playing his music. That's how I select my articulation. What about you? Is it meter important for you when selecting articulation and fingering?
Meter is probably the most important thing for me. Yeah, it used to be different things in the past for me, but now I always tend to think about meter, about the pulse.
Yes.
When I play, and whenever I remember to count in strong and weak beats and make alternations between strong and weak beats in terms of articulation, right? Then the composition comes to life. And I might not understand all the symbological figures, right, that Bach put, the psi motives, the figura corta,
Cross sign.
Cross, exactly, all those intricate details that he knew and people back in the day knew, at least educated people back in the day knew. Because you have to remember, his music is like musical sermon. Cantatas are like that, right? And if he had an idea, a religious idea, for example, he put those religious objects into his music.
Yes, especially on choral-based music, because it has text, so you can find lots of text painting.
It's hidden in the music, but today we have lost a lot of that, right? We don't speak that language anymore. It's even if we find excerpts of that and we can discover, oh, this is one motive, it means like that, it means one thing, and another motive means another thing. Yes, but we are not relating to those things anymore. We have to remember that Bach was one of the last composers in the Western tradition who believed the old belief system, world conscious. Remember,
Yes.
he thought about the universe as the force which is greater than man, right?
That's true.
Uh, that's what Christianity tells us, right? And in modern days, composers think that science can solve a lot of problems, and at least in the future, right? Not maybe today, but it will be developing fast and with leaps, and can solve a lot of mysteries in the universe. Bach, on the other hand, believed that some mysteries are never meant to be solved, probably.
And I think he was right, probably.
Excellent, guys. Let's keep the mystery going.
Yes, and I think, going still back to that question, I think, that learning any piece of Bach is a lifelong process. And maybe, now you're playing it in this manner, and maybe after 10 years or after 5 years, you will change your opinion a little bit and you play it a little bit different, with a little bit different articulation, a little bit different tempo, and, you will feel it a little bit different. And it's okay.
It's not okay, Osha. It's wonderful. It's the way it should be, because we think about that about Bach as a demigod, right? But he was an artist basically, and artists never do same things twice.
Yes.
They try to invent, recreate old ideas in new ways, combine them. So I think the best way you could approach Bach's music is today you play one way, and tomorrow you try to find out a little bit different angle, how you can articulate or finger something, or create a different version of pedaling. And maybe on Wednesday you will do something different still. That's okay. It's encouraged to do this way.
Yes, because his music is so rich that each time you play the same piece, you can find a new things.
Mm-hmm.
And, to find a new way how to approach particular piece or particular spot.
What would happen otherwise if a person discovers a real, true Bach system and says, "Oh, I'm set for life now"?
Well, then it will be over.
That person won't evolve anymore.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. I hope we can do better than that. Thanks, guys. This was Vidas.
And Osha,
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.